The entire heart, a very corrupt heart, but the heart, nevertheless, of Hollywood, is getting ready to be ripped out and on trial in the Diddy or Didn't He court case happening right now. Today, we'll tell you why Hollywood has more than a few concerns, and celebrities are now bracing for fallout from the freakouts that it turns out have been destroying not only Hollywood, but the young celebrities who lived in it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with a pleasure that we welcome you back to the channel that covers not only leisure, but also important pieces of news as they happen that sometimes give us the blues. And the way that young celebrities were treated, well, that goes down on the list of things we wish had never happened, because it looks like devastation has been at the doorstep of Hollywood for decades. Today, we're taking a look at the Diddy or Didn't He trial and letting you know why this could be an awful time for the celebrities who are innocent until proven guilty, but that might not be such an eternity away. Folks, this could be the very end of the Pro Channel as we know it. So enjoy it while it lasts. We're going to cover Diddy or Didn't He. That's how we're going to say it so we get away with it. This is from Barbie. Just Barbie. No other word, Barbie. It says, day one recap. Diddy has gotten some trouble. The federal trial of music mogul Diddy or Didn't He started today in Manhattan. Says key developments. Watch as I read these carefully, folks. Key development charges. Diddy or Didn't He faces 5 federal charges, including racketeering conspiracy. We've got some issues with traffic that has nothing to do with vehicles. Transportation for the purposes of bad stuff. If convicted, could face life in jail. A jury comprising 12 members and 6 alternates was finalized. The selection process included inquiries about potential biases, especially concerning familiarity with celebrities. This is going to be the broader topic we're going to talk about in just a minute. The prosecution's opening statements. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson presented a narrative portraying Diddy or Didn't He as orchestrating a decades-long criminal enterprise. And here's where we're going to have something to talk about. Freak-offs. Prosecutors described events termed freak-offs, alleging that Diddy or Didn't He manipulated people into encounters of a physical kind, sometimes involving males, and used recordings of these freak-offs for blackmailification. All right, folks, let's pause there for a minute. Let's just talk about it. The reason we have to discuss it, and we have to walk carefully with it, but we're going to talk about it, is because this has the potential to absolutely break Hollywood open in a way that just rarely ever even rises on the radar. Here's why. There are celebrities, and some of them were very young at the time, who have been dramatically affected, perhaps, by this stuff. This is another one of those situations like what we saw with Me Too, where there has been something going on that is sinister and evil, perhaps allegedly, in Hollywood, that has just destroyed. I'm not talking about just the minds of some of these people in Hollywood, but their souls. Mm-hmm. There is something rotten to the core that was allowed to exist, and people knew about it, perhaps allegedly, and this may draw in lots of people and implicate lots of people. And this is why I think they're staying as far away from this as they can. But I think there's some people out there who they deserve some justice. I think there's some famous people out there that they deserve some justice. And I hope that this is a step forward into bringing some justice to a world that seems immune to justice, perhaps allegedly. And we'll see. Panel, I'll hand it to you, and walk carefully with this, with the words we say. But with this Diddy or Didn't He trial, question is this a time? Is this not just a reckoning for the individual in the trial, but maybe the entire enterprise of Hollywood that put people, young people, perhaps allegedly, into positions to be devoured by evil?
Depending on how this goes, it'll determine if I reinvest in Johnson & Johnson, because baby oil may be skyrocketing or plummeting soon. The Listen, we know that Hollywood has been a very evil place for a very long time. You can go back and watch the, it's on. I think it's still on Hulu, where they talk about the horrors of what was going on inside the Playboy Mansion. I think we have that infamous clip of Shirley Temple talking about going to visit one of the major studios with her mother, and one of the executives, appearing to her nude. So it's this behavior has gone on, and then of course we've got Harvey. So this behavior has gone unchecked for a very long time. Anybody who's paid attention to the celebrity worship scene over in LA, and the big party environments, we know that there are a lot of very powerful people, some of them who have held very high offices, attended those parties and did so gleefully. So there's a lot of people here who are poised to get in a lot of trouble. And it's not looking good. At the end of the day, the only thing we can kind of hope for is that finally accountability comes to a town that seems to be devoid of it, because these people sure do love to tell us how we need to live our lives and how terrible we are.
Oh yeah,
agreeing with them. But
and Kevin, they grab that. They grab that moral virtue that they just invented 5 minutes ago, and they hang it over your head as if you never acted right, and they did.
Yep. So this exposure is long overdue. I feel so greatly sorry for all the young people whose lives were destroyed. Who when they were in the middle of their very public breakdowns were mocked in the media and eventually ostracized. But we've seen this many times. Well, people in legitimate pain who needed help, who were ignored, and it was because they were actual victims. So I'm looking very forward to seeing this.
Well said. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hollywood has always been a system of unlimited, unchecked power and no accountability. It's people that are rich and famous and believe that they are above the law, and they're finding out that they're not, because if he can go down, anyone can go down. And if he skirts this, well, then it's all just going to start up again. And I'm more interested in who he's going to take down with him, because you never know, I know he was buddies with Beyonce and Jay-Z. Were they involved in it? Who else was involved in this? That's what we have to know. And I agree with Kevin. I think there's a lot of people who we maybe judged too harshly while they were having what appeared to be a meltdown that were probably caused by these events. If this is all true, because I know it's all alleged at this time, they can't throw the book at this guy hard enough.
Yep. Sorry. I was
going to say that the presumption of innocence exists. It's a principle we hold on to. At the same time, we have watched some people go through very, very hard times. In Hollywood, they were mocked, they were ridiculed, and their actions may have been the result of what they went through at the hands of not only a monster, but a monstrous industry that didn't protect them.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Yeah. The thing is, they would say, "Oh, well, it was only Bill. It was only Bill." And then they say, "Okay, well, I guess it was also Bill and Harvey, just those two, just Bill and Harvey and Jeff, I guess, no, just Bill and Harvey and Jeff. No, definitely not Bill and Harvey and Jeff and Brian, and maybe also, and I'm going to stop here before YouTube puts it all together here. But, the list is pretty long and everyone wants to act shocked. But there's also a lot of people out there who are very fine with the idea of, well, if I give up this part of my soul for fame and fortune, I'm willing to accept that. The younger ones, I don't think so much. I think there needs to be a no forgiveness policy on the people that took advantage of people's youth.
And there's also the issue of many people out there now having what went down with the guy who owned the island. They now say to themselves, there is no justice. No justice is coming, and the system will do whatever it has to do to protect itself. I'm hoping in this case that we're all wrong about that. I really am.
I have been legitimately wondering and hoping not that, whether he's going to meet the same end as the Island Man, because people need to protect themselves.
Well, I think the problem is the guy recorded everything for decades and they didn't find everything. So, may behoove them to let us ride this out.
nobody's going to be covering a Sting song about this guy if he goes away.
Erica, talk to us about the stink of Hollywood, though. Erica, walk us through your thoughts on what you would like to see in terms of the cleanup and maybe a better morality brought to the entertainment industry.
I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to see Hollywood clean itself up morally, but, you know, will it?
If it costs them
maybe
money,
a
that
little
seems to be
bit.
the only thing. They only care about money and power. So this has got to cost them some money or some liberty.
I think the only thing they're going to get out of this is how to try and not get caught the next time. I'm not really convinced it's going to change much. And unfortunately, we live in a day and age where we've been morally desensitized to a lot of this stuff. I mean, we're just kind of numb, like, okay, well, who's next that's going to pop out into the limelight with more corruption and more immorality? You know, it's everywhere, and it's hard to even be shocked by any of it. But at the same time, I think it will cause a lot of pause on maybe people or even parents that have kids that are interested in the industry. There may be more of a, whoa, let's kind of think about this a little longer and more deeper. Is it really worth it in the long run to enter into this industry, or is it worth it for my child and me supporting my child in something like this?
Right, and is it worth fame and fortune and a mansion to have your entire spiritual being just ripped apart by monsters who will prey upon you? That's another thing that you got to think about.
It's a trade-off. I mean, I know Christian, he was younger. He definitely gravitated to wanting in that artist direction. And I honestly, when he was a young age, I nipped it. I very quickly, at an age-appropriate way, kind of told him, you know, that's fine and good, you know, as a hobby. If you want to, you know, play guitar or do this, you know, you can still have fun, you know, being an artist, but as far as like making money goes, you know, making a living, let's kind of think logically through this. And I very successfully talked him out of it.
There you go.
You know, Kevin earlier on talked about how this is historically in Hollywood, things of this nature have been going on for years. It seems that they have ballooned. They've gotten worse and worse and worse. When I was growing up, you always heard, well, so and so became big because they made a quote unquote deal with the devil. That was a phrase a lot of people would go to. But the crazy thing nowadays is that we're seeing how real that is playing out in a trial like this. And I have wondered how often, when a name is thrown out, Weinstein, whatever, how often are they the real villain, or are they the scapegoat that Hollywood is throwing out? And I have a skepticism in this case. I don't want to, but is Diddy being used as a scapegoat? Is Hollywood throwing him out there because they can use him as a scapegoat? And there's like, every time this happens, I always think, is there a bigger real villain behind this villain? Obviously, again, alleged. I'll give that preface, but still, it just makes me wonder. You know, we talk about all that may or may not come out from this. And frankly, it scares me. And I really hope that the entertainment industry somehow gets cleaned up and veers away from all this stuff. There's so many words that are coming to my mind. I just can't use them because we keep this family friendly. And I just really hope that there's a lot more family friendly entertainment that comes out of Hollywood, and family friendly people and personalities and good people. And I don't know that our new Peepaw is going to be one of them, but we shall see what happens over time.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the execs at Hollywood, it's not in your financial interest to have these people destroyed by these sorts of things. So it's time for the cleanup. You know, there's a limit to the kinds of fun and pleasure that need to be delved into by these people. And if they're doing this, it is going to destroy you. The democratization of entertainment is on the way. YouTubers are now buying up studio spaces, and Hollywood is losing its power.
Yep.
It's going to middle America. People who are passionate in their garages and their basements and their attics with computer power, and they're making stuff. And they don't come with this kind of insane baggage, and they don't go and do these sorts of deranged things, allegedly. And so if Hollywood wants to have any relevancy very soon, they better clean this up and clean it up immediately. All right, panel, last thoughts on this one before we move on.
I just want to point out the irony of what you said. Hollywood exists because, right when the movie making technology came out, it was folks like Edison who were essentially standing on the necks of independent filmmakers and content creators. They would go to the companies and make sure that they couldn't get film sold. They were literally showing up pewing sets to stop productions from happening. And then those independent makers got together and started Hollywood so that they could create freely. And now look at what happened. They became worse than the thing that they were fighting against. And now, because of where they are, because of pretty much every moral and sense of ethical, attachment to reality they had, people are walking away from it in droves, and they're running away from it. And now people are looking to new media, people looking to content creators, people who have deep tethers to reality and morals and ethics, and just kind of want to see themselves represented in a space appropriately, and that's where the power is now. So it is interesting to see the history of Hollywood and how it's played out, and how essentially the serpent kind of ate its own tail.
Absolutely. All right. Well, folks, that's where we'll leave it for now. But Hollywood has much to learn, and they are burning down a lot of goodwill from Americans all over. The situation right now with Diddy or Didn't remains open. But one thing is for sure, the corruption that we've been watching from the entertainment industry, the sun is setting on that, I believe. And it's time to move on to a brighter day where Americans across the continent take over, creating the stuff that you want to watch, free of this kind of evil, honestly, allegedly, that's been existing in the corners, in the darkness, under the bed, but maybe greatly even in the sunlight in California. It is such fun getting to spend time together, folks, but we have come to the end of yet another video. Well, that makes the mainstream scratch their heads, pull their hair out, and wonder, how is it we continue to do what we do? But you know what we do this for? It's for you. To keep bringing all the knowledge of entertainment, explaining what's going on in Hollyweird each and every day. And you can help us continue on that way by clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those algorithms. It's the notification bell. Share this out on your favorite social media platforms, and we would love to have you drop a comment right on down below. Share your thoughts because, well, your thoughts truly do matter, and we mean it. As we get ready to say goodbye, we end with the common refrain. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Hey, Floral, guess what?
You put a fork in Pro's microwave again.
No, that was yesterday.
I don't know that what.
Oh, I've decided to give up on torturing Jonas.
What? Why? In the same way the cat sleeps like 20 hours a day, that was like your purpose.
I know, but I've decided there's bigger fish to fry.
Okay.
Like Lorne. I mean, think about it. Everybody loves him. He's a fan favorite, and frankly, he has almost no weaknesses I can find. Except that he's really smart.
So, you want to annoy the one panelist without a single flaw, because he's smart.
Yeah, like that winged statue at that fancy Paris museum thingy. I want to break the one thing that everyone loves most.
Right. So, kind of like the opposite of Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, exactly. And I get to see her all the time at family reunions anyway.
You get to see Rachel Zegler?
Yeah. She's a total troll. Lives under a bridge, harasses billy goats, the whole 9 yards.
It all makes sense now.
Speaking of which, maybe she'll get me. Okay, call her on my. I'm gonna call her and see if she'll be in the next Indiana Jones. She should be the next Indiana Jones. That'll totally destroy Lord. He loves Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's cruel.
Hey, Rach. I've got a cool idea for you that involves a whip and snakes.
I love that description. It's perfect.
I know, right? Weird, as we always say.